As Chairman Higgins indicated a few moments ago, roughly 2 weeks ago, Chief Ortiz was here on Capitol Hill briefing members of Congress, particularly members of this committee, about events that have transpired post-Title 42. And we had the opportunity to speak with him, and Chief Ortiz said that he believed that the reduction that we've seen post-Title 42, he described it as what he believed to be a temporary reduction, and that he expected the numbers to return at some point back to the baseline that we had seen over the last 2 years. And so my first question to both of you, do you agree with Chief Ortiz's assessment that the reduction that we've seen is more temporary in nature and that we will return to the baseline of the last 2 years, or do you believe that the reduction that we've seen is permanent in nature?
I would say that we're encouraged by what we've seen the last 3 weeks, but as I mentioned, we are clear-eyed that the factors in our hemisphere that are driving this historic movement of people are still there, and that smugglers use disinformation to drive migration. So this is a fragile equilibrium that we have on the border, and it could be upset in the future for sure.
I would agree with that statement. Also with Chief Ortiz, is that there's still numbers there in Mexico. I believe they've taken kind of a wait and see approach to see how this pans out. How do we stick to our guns with this, with how we're enforcing the Title 8 rules, and see how that works out. So time will tell.
And then also, Chairman Higgins mentioned earlier some conversation about the CBP1 app. I know both of you mentioned that in your written testimony about the use of the CB1 app. We see that news reports show that the CB1 app, that there's roughly 1,000 immigrants a day who are able to apply for some sort of status within the United States using the CBP1 app. Recent report by Fox News talks about the administration is seeking to expand that very quickly to 40,000 a month. And so my question is when Congress receives information, the public receives information from DHS about Southwest land border encounters. Those numbers in March were 191,000 and some change. In April were 211,000 and some change. Are the individuals who are applying and entering the country through the CBP1 app, are those individuals included in the figures that we are receiving, or are those individuals somewhere else not included in those numbers? Because that's very important for us to know exactly how many people are coming across the border, whether you're coming across illegally and claiming asylum, or whether you're coming in by using the CBP1 app, presenting yourself at a port of entry. They're still being allowed into the country. And so we're trying to get at least I am, and I'm assuming others on this committee, we're trying to wrap our head around the true figure of individuals who are allowing to come into the country each and every month. And so are you aware of how those numbers are calculated when you're talking about the Southwest land border encounter numbers that we routinely rely upon from CBP?
Yeah, thank you, sir. So my understanding is that when CBP issues its monthly reports, those numbers include encounters at ports of entry, which would include CBP1, and it also includes encounters between ports of entry, which obviously would not include CBP1. And I would also note that the Immigration and Nationality Act expressly authorizes individuals to present at ports of entry and claim asylum, and they must be processed. And we're actually under litigation right now that prevents the use of metering at the land border. So I know Chief Huffman has thoughts here, but the CBP1 app is really just a scheduling tool to allow us to let people who may wish to claim asylum present at a port of entry in a way that is safe and orderly and doesn't tie up our ports of entry.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, sir, those numbers in Women Counter, for example, I have the numbers running in my office every day, and they'll say like 4,500 apprehensions yesterday. That will include probably 3,000 to 4,000, 3,000 or so encounters by the Border Patrol, plus it includes the ones that applied for entry or presented themselves for entry using that being scheduled by the CBP1 app. And I want to emphasize something that's very important to us, because concern is the CBP1 continues to get misconstrued. For us, it is nothing more than a scheduling tool. It allows us to have an orderly process at our ports of entry, because without that scheduling tool, all these people that are waiting and seeing would all be showing up at the same time and clogging up and shutting down our ports and impact trade, impact other people that have lawful ways into the country, the U.S. citizens, lawful permanent residents, those things. So we use the CBP-1 as a scheduling tool to help us maintain that order at our ports, because